The Copts are an ethno-religious group indigenous to North Africa who have primarily inhabited the area of modern Egypt and Sudan since antiquity. Most ethnic Copts are Coptic Orthodox Christians. Coptic Orthodox Christians are the largest Christian denomination in Egypt and in the Middle East. Coptic Orthodox Christians are also the largest Christian denomination in Sudan and Libya. Historically, ethnic Copts spoke the Coptic language, a direct descendant of the Demotic Egyptian that was spoken in late antiquity. Originally referring to all Egyptians at first, the term Copt became synonymous with being a Christian, as a result of Egypt's Arabization and Islamization. Copts in Egypt constitute the largest Christian population in the Middle East and North Africa, as well as the largest religious minority in the region, accounting for roughly 5 to 20% of the Egyptian population. Although the exact percentage is unknown, Copts in Sudan constitute the largest Christian community in Sudan, and Copts in Libya constitute the largest Christian community in Libya, accounting for an estimated 1% of their respective populations. After the Muslim conquest of Egypt in 639 and 646 AD, the treatment of the Coptic Christians ranged from relative tolerance to open persecution. And historically, the Copts suffered from waves of persecution giving way to relative tolerance in cycles that varied according to the local ruler and other political and economic circumstances. Persecution is pivotal to Copts' sense of identity. Most Copts adhere to the Coptic Orthodox Church of Alexandria, an Oriental Orthodox church. The smaller Coptic Catholic Church is an Eastern Catholic Church, in communion with the See of Rome. Others belong to the Evangelical Church of Egypt. The Copts played a central role in the Arab Renaissance and the modernization of Egypt and the Arab world as a whole, and they contributed to the social and political life and key debates such as Arabism, good governance, educational reform, and democracy, and they flourished in business affairs. Copts of Coptic ancestry maintain a distinct ethnic identity, and generally reject an Arab identity. In Egypt, Copts have relatively higher educational attainment, relatively higher wealth index, and a stronger representation in white-collar job types, but limited representation in security agencies. The majority of demographic, socioeconomic and health indicators are similar among Copts and Muslims. The English language adopted the word Copt in the 17th century from New Latin Coptis, Coftis, which derives from the Arabic collective kut, kit, the Copts, with nisba adjective kuti, kibthi, plural ekbat, also kufti, kifthi. The Coptic word in turn represents an adaptation of the Greek term for the indigenous people of Egypt, Aegyptios. The Greek term for Egypt, Aegyptos, literally, a state, palace of the K. The term Aegyptios in Greek came to designate the native Egyptian population in Roman Egypt. After the Muslim conquest of Egypt, it became restricted to those Egyptians adhering to the Christian religion. The Coptic name for Egyptians, Remain Kemi, is realized in the Fayumic Coptic as Lemon Kemi and as Remen Kem in the Sahitic dialect, cf. Egyptian RMT NKMT, Demotic RMT NKMI. The Arabic word kit, Copt, has also been connected to the Greek name of the town of Coptos in Upper Egypt. This association may have contributed to making Copt the settled form of the name. In the 20th century, some Egyptian nationalists and intellectuals in the context of Pharaonism began using the term Kut in the historical sense. The Copts are one of the oldest Christian communities in the Middle East. Although integrated in the larger Egyptian nation-state, the Copts have survived as a distinct religious community, forming around 5 to 20% of the population. Though estimates vary, they pride themselves on the apostolicity of the Egyptian Church, whose founder was the first in an unbroken chain of patriarchs. The main body for 16 centuries has been out of communion with both the Roman Catholic Church and the various Eastern Orthodox churches. According to ancient tradition, Christianity was introduced within present-day Egypt by Saint Mark in Alexandria, shortly after the ascension of Christ and during the reign of the Roman Emperor Claudius around 42 AD. The legacy that Saint Mark left in Egypt was a considerable Christian community in Alexandria. From Alexandria, Christianity spread throughout Egypt within half a century of Saint Mark's arrival in Alexandria, as is clear from a fragment of the Gospel of John, written in Coptic, which was found in Upper Egypt and can be dated to the first half of the 2nd century, and the New Testament writings found in Oxyrhynchus, in Middle Egypt, which date around the year 200 AD. In the 2nd century, Christianity began to spread to the rural areas, and scriptures were translated into the local language. Today,